Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Splitting up shortly after marriage. Seeking advice. We have been married for only over a month and my wife said she wants a divorce and after 3 days already filed for it officially. I asked her for a reason and all she said to me was that we've talked about it over and over for the last 2 years and she has no will to do it anymore. For the last few days I tried to persuade her just to talk to me about it, that it is too soon and we should not give up that soon, but it only pushes her away. She has already moved out. Last night I couldn't stop myself and looked up in her notebook. It turned out she was writing her thoughts down. I was torn by how bad sometimes she felt and how much she tried to make it work. For the last couple days I just kept releasing more and more how much I failed her even though I had good intentions. I wrote to her about it but it only made her furious that I violated her privacy and I completely understood her but just can't get myself together and not act the way I'm acting right now. Yesterday I have already appointed myself to see a therapist to sort it out on my own. My wife doesn't deserve what I'm doing right now. Core of the issue is that I was not spending time with her and prioritizing other things. I was working on a side project after work to get some extra money for us cause we have dreamed about buying a house. Sometimes she used to encourage me and tried to support me about this and sometimes she was furious about it. We have fought about it over and over. We used to always resolve this and things were getting better for a while. She used to feel really bad and spend days in bed. I was also frustrated that she prefers not to talk to me or trash talk me instead of fixing the issue and over time I stopped being the first who tries to talk it over. Sometime before the wedding she said she doesn't want this and wants to break up. I was terrified and realized that I had to change and spend more time with her. At the same time she has confessed that for the last couple of months before the wedding there was a guy who kept hitting on her and talking her out of marrying me. It has really hurt me that she allowed this relationship to go on for months even though she never crossed the line and I trust her about it, and I was completely aware that my actions from the last 2 years pushed her to the arms of someone else. I could see how much my relationship with him changed. In our biggest fight before the wedding she said she doesn't love me and wants out. I told her that she is just trying to push me away because she is scared and I don't believe her. On the next day we reconciled. She said she was surprised how well I read her and knew exactly how deep inside she felt and that she will never hurt me again like this. She cut off ties with him and focused on our wedding. For the last half a year, I think from the moment she told me about this guy I decided to get myself together and prioritize our relationship. Things were better or worse but we managed to push through and decided to go with the wedding. A couple days after the wedding she started to feel worse and went to a psychiatrist. He has diagnosed ADHD and depression and prescribed her medicine which was really hard to get. Some pharmacies refused to sell drugs. I could see how it was affecting her and was doing my best to support her. On one day she was crying that she is hurting our relationship. On the next day she was saying that I manipulated her into our marriage and she just doesn't feel it anymore. She kept saying that she was not happy for the last 2 years and we were not doing anything together. I can agree that it was not always the best but we also had good times and I feel like she completely refuses to acknowledge them and let us work on making things better. In our honest talk before marriage we have agreed things were not the best, but we will try to work on this. I don't understand how it could completely change in 2 months. I know I have failed her because I should have been more supportive to her when she felt like shit and had depression episodes, but it was also not easy for me to deal with all those things and felt like I'm doing the best for both of us. I don't get why she went for the marriage only to want to break up. I feel like she is choosing an easy solution and we could work this through. Literally days before we have sex and she is crying to my shoulder how sorry she is that her condition is affecting us the way it is, or she is rushing to make new ID so we can plan our honeymoon and suddenly things that were issues for some time now are deal breaker and she refuses to talk any more about it. Do you think there is any chance? Am I 100% to blame for this, and have I irreversibly ruined it? I want to fight for it and refuse the divorce, saying all those things to judge and to say I want more time for her therapy that she is supposed to do now and go together to a couples therapy that she is refusing right now. I feel like this is really wrong and rushed, and I'm not 100% sure it is true herself right now or the drugs are speaking through her. I can't shake off the feeling that something is not right. Last month was also ups and downs, but I was committed to focus completely on us. I wrote all of this because I need some other perspective. Maybe I am the one to blame and I am selfish to fight for it, but I want to look in the mirror in the future and tell myself I tried everything I could not to lose her. I have been a version of your wife. She states her needs. You don't meet them. Instead of valuing herself and leaving the relationship for someone who will meet her needs, she tries to deny her needs for the sake of the relationship. And then gets depressed and angry at you for her needs not being met. You both are at fault here. She is not enforcing her own boundaries and you are failing at showing up as a partner. She should have left you long ago, before the marriage. You aren't good for her. And it sounds like you haven't been good to her, either. And now she is acting out, blaming you and denying her own agency in the situation. Because she sees herself as a martyr, and thinks that because she denied herself for your love she thinks she deserves her sacrifice to pay off. She needs to focus on what is within her control, her boundaries, her behavior, and you need to step up and be a better partner for your next relationship. It's not like I've never been doing anything to get things better, and she could see it. And I did change as much as I could for the last couple months when we both knew it would not be the best immediately. She was happy when we were doing things together, sometimes sad that she is scared that it is only temporary. As you've been in this position, you don't see any way to make it actually work? I feel like it is time to focus on myself, give her space, but make it clear that I want this to work out. I don't think it's necessarily hopeless, but it just seems like your wife waited too long to enforce her boundaries and now she has zero patience or trust left. Love is a funny thing though. So maybe. I think it's definitely possible to come back, but only if she wants to. Sometimes you just lose the energy to keep fighting. Fighting with your spouse all the time sucks. It's exhausting. But you can only control yourself. You can choose to be a better person regardless of whether or not it makes her come back. You'll be happier for it even if it ends up being with someone else, or with no one else. Get a lawyer and see if you can file for an annulment. You're being gaslit. You didn't push her to anybody. She made that choice on her own. Let her file and find someone better suited to you. She's already been cheating for months and the marriage means nothing to her. I'm sorry you're going through this. She sometimes used the argument of being gaslighted by me in my direction, that she feels worse than me. Always try to confirm to her how I value her and completely don't see it the way she says it. Now I feel that she has changed and feel more confident she doesn't value our relationship the way she used to. The fact is, you didn't push her into anyone's arms, she chose that. It's up to you if you want to work through that, but she's already shown you if you don't fill up her cups she will give up and seek it elsewhere. Update to divorcing shortly after marriage. I wanted to share how is it going with my divorce proceedings described here. Since my wife moved out to her parents, I tried to reach out to her and talk about what seemed to only further push her away, a common mistake I guess. When I met with her in person in the middle of July, she seemed more pissed and uneasy because of our meeting than to feel down about all of it. I left her a letter trying to pass to her my view on this. She said she filed for divorce on that day and will move out entirely in a few days. On the next day I decided to start packing some of her stuff. There was her old laptop. Since our meeting the day before was so odd, I checked whether she was still logged into Messenger. Turns out she was, and that she was, at least since the week she has told me about divorce, in a relationship with this guy, planning to move in to live with him and go meet his parents. Conversation seemed like it has been going on for a while, including a lot of intimacy stuff. I find it hard to wrap my head around how one person can marry someone and switch in a couple of weeks into completely something else. The day before she said straight to my face that she is alone right now, feeling good about it, and it completely is not about the other guy. She got notification that I logged in and immediately tried to hide their conversation. I just texted her to cut the crap and move out ASAP or I will throw her stuff out. That wasn't too mature from the perspective of time, but I felt really treated like some worthless junk by her that she decided to change to a new, shiny toy. She was moving out with her parents for the next 2 days. Lots of drama, calling me names from her side and nasty comments just to hurt me, but in the end she started crying how she doesn't want to end things this way and that all what has happened is not about me. That was really confusing. I just told her that it is a mistake what we're doing and we should try to work it out. Now I decided not to contact her besides the really necessary stuff, but sometimes I really want to text her about all of it. So far I have managed to always ask myself what's the point right now and not to do it. Lately I found an article that seems to be on point about our relationship. I wonder if she sees it the same way. The more I think about it, I see how anxious she was and I was growing to be badly avoidant in this relationship. This week I've seen official documents for divorce. As much as I understand her reasoning that she started to feel unappreciated over time, it pisses me off she completely skipped her part in all of it and not mentioned that she has started relationship with someone else, but I guess there was no point digging holes under herself since she wants divorce. But does she really think I will not bring this up? I guess she has hoped I would simply not find out about it. All of it feels like some badly scripted soap opera and I wonder why we have to put ourselves through all this crap. Guess she has a totally different mindset right now. Just get divorced. She has been cheating on you since before you were married. Maybe you are partly to blame for the relationship going south. But at this point, why go forward? You should count her due for divorce and name her AP as one of the reasons. That way she can't hide it. The divorce documents will become public record and anyone who wants to look for the doc and read it will see AP's name. If you don't do at least this little bit to yak back control of your why, you will forever regret it and will not like the person you see in the mirror a few years in the future. It's common for folks to sleep around before marriage. Once done with marriage, many folks default back to the lifestyle they knew before marriage. I definitely cut off all contact outside of what is legally necessary. She married you with the issues. And asks for a divorce and moves out a little over a month into marriage. She married you while cheating on you. Please, realize you deserve better. She is trash, father. It will get better, if you let it. Hugs. Dealing with affair right after the wedding, coping. Full story here. TLDR, wife had an emotional affair before the wedding where the dude was trying to dissuade her from marrying me. She confessed to all of it. At least I trusted her, that was all, and at the time I did not treat it as an affair. Month after the wedding she wants divorce, just saying it was the wrong decision, moving out ASAP and filing for divorce. We had plenty of issues through our 5-year relationship. Now that I dig more into this stuff, I can see how much our attachment styles used to collide, where I was rather avoidant and she was really anxious. Still, it didn't seem right and I started to dig into her private stuff, which was her journal and messenger. Found out sometime after the wedding she was texting him. Convo seemed like there was physical stuff already going on and they have serious plans made up. How on earth can you switch like that from one relationship to another? I am angry at her, but at the same time keep circling around the thoughts of how many things I could have done better, and I'd consider going into counseling together. One day I feel pathetic about it and the next day that it is a reasonable thing to do. I do try to focus on myself and keep no contact with her. No point begging when she is the one who started this nonsense. I even feel bad for scooping through her stuff despite the fact it turned out I was right. You have been married for such a short time. You should try to get the marriage annulled. Consult with an attorney to explore your options. Not sure it qualifies in my country for an annulment in case of civil marriage. However, she has filed for a non-fault divorce and now I have to decide whether I accept that or want to counter with divorce by her fault. Despite my shortcomings, divorce by her fault feels the right thing to do, but my attorney said if I go this way it will for sure take at least 2 hearings, while with non-fault divorce it can be quickly done within the first hearing. I'm prepping for divorce by her fault but do wonder whether it is worth my time. I think it's worth your time, TBH. She cheated, it's her fault. Don't let her get away with it. Go no fault. It will take less time and really the only reason for a fault divorce, only a handful of states allow it, is to protect your assets from being split 50-50. You've been together 5 years, it's likely she's entitled to half anyway. Unless you own a house with your name only on it. I'd go no fault. You were married for a month. I can't see any difference financially between a non-fault and fault with that short of time frame. Going for an at fault is going to cost both of you significantly more. It's not just the 2 hearings, remember that's minimum but can be more, but there will be added discovery which will consume billable hours. Divorce, while emotions and feelings were involved getting to that point, in the end is a business transaction. Treat it as such. Your goal at this point is to get out of this marriage as cheaply and painlessly as possible. It will hurt you at least as much but most likely more as your STBX goes the hard route. She doesn't care. Putting her failings on broadcast has the same effect as choosing at fault with a much cheaper bill to be paid. Preferably after the divorce is final. It is worth your time. Can you name her AP in the divorce documents? That way his name will be public and people will know what happened. By fault. You're right, no point begging anymore. She was 100% wrong for having an affair, and nothing that you say will lessen that fact, so don't make excuses for her. If you want to be blamed for something, it would be for pressuring her into marriage when she first said she didn't want to. You persuaded her to change her mind and she married you. How many times did this happen before your wedding, this persuasion? I thought I counted twice. But of course, I may have read your several posts wrong, and if so, sorry. In any case, everything subsequent to your wedding could have been avoided, right? Yeah, she told me about him 3 months before marriage. At that time seemed 100% honest about it, and told me how he kept complaining about his current long-term girlfriend and how cool she is. He kept talking to her over the time and with time openly pursuing her. She told me she kept denying him and trying to keep conversation on only work-related levels. I did wonder if I should have a chat with him to simply bake off, but felt really creepy to me, like some overly jealous white knight. Then, as you said, months before the wedding she was getting cold feet and saying she didn't want the marriage. Had a fight, told her that she is being scared and letting the other guy mess with her head. Next day she agrees and says how sorry she is, loves me and will never hurt me again like that. Well, smiley face. With time I'm not sure I did push her for this marriage. Now it feels more like trying to fix what I felt was wrong and made her even consider being with someone else. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.